Welcome back into the NW Sportscast. Seahawks versus Cardinals, which at the start of the year was looked at one of the least consequential games on the lineup. Now all of a sudden, for both teams who are both right in that NFC West dogfight, now the biggest game of the year so far, this is going to be a tight one. This is going to be a tight one, and I'm going to go over with you guys where I have, I'm going to give you my prediction. I'm going to give you my key to the game, a key player, and what you guys need to watch out for. Let's start with, just the general, what's at stakes for both teams. Seahawks sit at 5-5 after a huge win coming off a bye against the San Francisco 49ers. But on the other side of things, it's the Arizona Cardinals who have defied all odds and are now first place in the NFC West, a game above Seattle. They're also rolling. The Cardinals' offense, Kyler Murray's been great, but it's been James Conner. He's been the guy that's really been the motor to this team. He's almost at 700 yards, and we're only at week 12 so far in this year. On the other end of things, the Seahawks are bottom 10 in the NFL in stopping the rushing game. So, right off the bat, you can see that might be a key to the game early on. You got James Conner, who has been great for the Cardinals, been the main driving force in that offense. And the other side of things, you have a struggling defense that stops the run in Seattle. It's going to be tough. They did okay against Christian McCaffrey. That was definitely encouraging to see. But against this Cardinal-led James Conner team, it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to be tough, and the Seahawks are going to have to dig deep. Mike Macdonald, he doesn't get the extra week out of the bye like he did against the San Francisco 49ers. You got the classic standard week of football to prepare. And to be quite honest with you, Mike Macdonald, who looked so good at scheming things up, and he's still been really good this year at stopping quarterbacks, sometimes that being able to stop quarterbacks for the most part outside of that Jared Goff game in Detroit, he's kind of given up some rushing yards because of it. So it's going to be huge. You got to look at a lot of guys on the defensive line. You got to look at guys like Leonard Williams, Boye Mafe, guys in the middle, the linebacking crew as well. Tyrese Knight, he's now taking the reins as a rookie, and he's one of the main guys that's going to be able to stop the run. So if those guys play well, which they prove they can against the San Francisco 49ers, then expect a good game for the Seattle Seahawks team, who offensively you should feel really, really, proud of, happy, and confident in going into this game against Arizona. I mean, this is a Geno Smith-led passing offense that's top 10 in the NFL. You got 3 wide receivers who, on most teams, would be a wide receiver 1 or 2. DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba, both, the 1A, 1B punch for Seattle. They would be the main wide receiver on, 29 to 32 teams. And then you got Tyler Lockett, the veteran guy, kind of rounding out that lineup. They're tough to stop. If this Seattle offensive line can give Geno Smith time, because don't get it twisted, guys, Geno Smith has played great this year, but he needs time. He's not a guy like Kyler Murray who can, escape from the pocket, try to figure something out on the fly. He does that occasionally. You saw that against the 49ers. He had that rushing touchdown to go up. That was huge. But for the most part, he's a pocket passer that needs time in the pocket. So if the Seattle offensive line can give him that, it's going to be good for the Seattle Seahawks. You got Abraham Lucas back. He's going to be huge. He's slowly integrating back into the Seattle offense. But other than that, this offensive line, who has struggled most of the season, I don't know. When an elite pass rusher is on the field, like a Nick Bosa last game, the Seahawks score 0 points. Then Nick Bosa goes off the field. Seattle scored every single point they scored when Nick Bosa wasn't on the field. And this is an Arizona Cardinal defensive line who, not elite, they don't have one guy that can really take over a game like a Nick Bosa, but they're solid. So the Seattle offensive line has to, and I mean has to, play well for the Seahawks to win this game. The two things, offensive line has to be good, and defensively they have to stop the run for James Conner. Those two main factors are going to contribute to the Seattle Seahawks beating the Arizona Cardinals at home, Lumen Field, tomorrow. It's an absolutely massive game. Let's go in. So those are my kind of 2 big keys, offensively and defensively. Someone I need to keep an eye out for. offensively and defensively. Give me defensively, I'm going to go Tyrese Knight. Now, Tyrese Knight is, that was a very surprising move. And I think not many people were expecting that cut and for him to kind of move into that position. But last game, I think he deserved it. I think he did. Was he perfect? No. Mike McDonald was asked on it and was asked, how do you think Tyrese Knight played? And he said straight up, I'm not going to praise Tyrese Knight. I expected that. He can play better. Some tough love from Mike McDonald to the 23-year-old, but it's true. Knight can play better. However, he was more than satisfactory against the 49ers. And if he can replicate that and even maybe a touch more against the Cardinals, Seahawks are going to be in good shape. The rookie has to get it done against the Cardinals. It's a lot of pressure. It's the first time starting in front of Lumen Field with 70,000 screaming fans. And he's on defense, so they're going to be screaming. You better believe it. With the Cardinals in town, leading, a potential NFC West lead on the line. Seattle's going to be bumping, and Tyrese Knight has to be able to block out the noise, play at his tempo, play fast, fly to the ball, not worry about the outside noise, and just jump. Don't think. Jump to the ball. Trust yourself, jump to the ball, play good, and I think Tyrese Knight is an X factor for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, on the other side of things, offensively, kind of a cop-out answer once again, but it's Geno Smith. It is, will always be, and has always been Geno Smith. And that's because he is, you talk about the motor that runs, the offense, and James Conner for the Cardinals, well, it's Geno Smith. Like most quarterbacks, he's the guy. And for my money, he's been the guy, quote-unquote, a little too much. I wish Kenneth Walker got more involved. I think Kenneth Walker is a top 5 back in the NFL, and the Seahawks aren't treating him like that. But if Geno Smith plays well and is given time, he can take over a game. He's that caliber of quarterback where you don't only have to kind of hang on to the floaty in the middle of the ocean, kick your legs, and hope someone rescues you. Wow, English struggling there. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to just kind of hold onto the life preserver and hope something happens with Geno Smith. He can elevate your game at certain points. He's the type of quarterback that when it's a sunny day out and when there's no waves, well, Geno Smith doesn't just have to stay afloat. He can swim to shore, and he can push the whole team to shore and help them win a football game. But in order to do that, he has to get some help around him. So Geno Smith has to play well. But in order for that to happen, once like I said, got to go back to the offensive line. I think if they're able to protect Geno Smith, if Kenneth Walker is able to get going in a little bit, let's say 15 carries to 20 carries, somewhere around there, give me 70 to 100 yards. And Geno Smith throws for somewhere, between 250 and 350, somewhere in there, on 70% completion and throws one or less interceptions, I think the Seahawks win this game. And unfortunately for the Arizona Cardinals, fortunately for you Seattle Seahawks fans, I presume you're all Seahawks fans listening to the NW Sportscast pod, which, by the way, you guys should all subscribe down below. Leave a like also while you're here. I have the Seahawks winning this football game. I do. I think it's going to be close. I think the Seahawks' home field advantage is going to really show out. The 12th man, that's been questioned a lot these last few weeks. I think they're going to ball out, too. I think Mike McDonald, now off the bye, is going to get his back-to-back wins, kind of resurrect this season, and the Seattle Seahawks are going to be sitting in first place in the NFC West. And right when you started to count out the boys from the Pacific Northwest, well, they're going to prove to the NFL why it's a little bit too late to count out the Seattle Seahawks. Give me Seahawks 28, Cardinals 24. It's going to be a nail-biter. It's going to come down to a few plays, and at the end of the day, I trust Geno Smith more than I thought I would trust him at Week 12 in the 2024 season. And I think he's going to be able to get it done for the Seattle Seahawks. That's it, guys. This is Drew Albaugh saying so long from the NW Sportscast. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We'll have a post-game tomorrow. And as always, go Hawks. See you guys.